Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Damon Allred and Jesse Morrison. I'm Jeremy Schnell. 35-31 ASU takes this one over Kansas. Their first ever Big 12 victory right here in the desert. It was 107 degrees, but you know what, Damon, it doesn't really matter how hot it is, as long as you get the victory.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how hot it is, and also when you're like Xavier and Allred, for example, you're not even feeling it on the field, he said. So ASU probably was right in their element. We talked about how this was a week of a terrible heat wave in October, and ASU was still practicing outside for their entire practice session on Wednesday, and it was player-led, that decision, and clearly it made a difference because it was Kansas that was looking tired at the end, not ASU.
The hottest recorded start game time, at the start of game time, the hottest recorded temperature since 2000, Jesse. But we're bearing the lead a little bit. Sam Leavitt had one of his best games, if not the best game of his career so far. 4 touchdowns on the day. What did you see from him today?
He just looked a lot more just calmer and like he had more experience. 14 of 24, 157 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's not the best stats in the world, but it was the throws that he was making, the lack of missing throws that he was making.
Hold on. We got a bug situation here. Hold on. All right, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, he made a few errant throws, and this thing will not get out of my face. He made a few errant throws, but overall, I think it was the most accurate he's been. It was the most just poised that he's been. His touchdown passes were incredible today. Just throws that I don't think he was going to make earlier this season. He made on, the first touchdown especially was the best one, I think. And then he had the 2 throws late in the game to Tyson that were just really incredible throws. And I'm just glad to see that he's hitting his open receivers and being pretty accurate. It was definitely a step in the right direction for Sam Leavitt.
Oh, for sure. And what I will say, his interception, not his fault. A couple of the passes across the middle of the field that were dropped by receivers, not his fault. A couple of them were behind receivers, I will say. But, we've come to expect some, red shirt freshman mistakes from Sam.
Yeah, but what I was saying is I just noticed that less in this game than in previous games. I thought that he was way more just poised and accurate and just comfortable. That's the thing that I saw out of him, was just a comfort back there that I don't think he had earlier in the season. He talked about changing up some of the footwork that he's had, and I think that might have helped in this situation. He did have one play where he definitely hopped and missed a throw, but overall I think he did something. He changed in the bye week that definitely I think worked, and just again growing more experienced in playing college football at a high level.
He spread it around a little bit too, Damon. Touchdown to Mateer, 2 touchdowns to Tyson, and then that one to Guillory. He spread it around. It seemed like he was trying to get everyone involved, and that's what you want to see from a quarterback in his first season in this offense.
Yeah, I think he was really good overall. The 4 touchdowns he had was the most by an ASU quarterback since Joey Yellen in 2019, believe it or not. The 4 touchdowns. No ASU quarterback has done that in the last 5 years, and they've had a quarterback who went on to win the Heisman. So, pretty incredible feat by Leavitt.
And is having a pretty nice career so far with the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, go Durs. But I think Leavitt, he talked post-game about the whiteboard that he has in his room, and he puts little motivational things, and the thing he had today, he said, was comfortable in the pocket, poised in the pocket, that sort of thing. And like Jesse was saying, it was very clear that this was probably the most calm that Leavitt has been.
And now we're not talking about Cam Scadaboo, who almost had a 200-yard game today, guys. He was excellent. He had that long 30-yard run toward the end of the game that really got ASU into scoring position, into the red zone, that led to that Tyson game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, although Sam had such a good game, I still think you give the performance of the game and, a helmet sticker. Let's do that. Give a helmet sticker out to, or game ball or whatever, to Cam Scadaboo, because, I think, you look at it, I feel like it was a sneaky great performance, but 25 carries for 186 yards. That's 7.4 yards per carry, and and a touchdown on the ground. Like, I mean, that's gotta be. I mean, that the offense worked because of that, and like you saw on the first drive of the game, that Cam's running ability and what he did, and also Sam had a great game on the ground, but Cam's running ability got them into the position where Leavitt could make that throw, and I think Sam's calmness and all that fed off of Cam's really good game, because I mean, you have a good running game, it makes so many things easier on the quarterback.
I thought they could have even run it a little bit more in this game. I thought that the running game was working so well. Kansas seemingly could not stop the run. 7.4 yards per carry for Scadaboo, the 39-yard run, and then obviously the 10 carries for 77 yards for Leavitt. I thought, they could have gotten Raleek Brown involved a little bit more, who was very good in his more touches for him today than he had against Texas State.
Yeah, I think that they did run the ball 45 times and threw the ball.
It felt like they could have done it more.
Yeah, I agree, but they did run the ball 45 times and threw it 25 times. I think that's a good balance. You do want Sam to have to throw the ball some. You don't want him to become... They're not trying to run the triple option here or the wing tee. This.
Why not?
Because you need to have a quarterback that's going to be able to throw when you're down in a game. And... that's what they did. I mean, they did run the ball on that last drive, but the eventual game winner was a pass. So you need a guy that can, throw the ball when you're down. This is funny, but I will reference it. My high school ran the wishbone, and they would get down late because they didn't have a great rushing attack. And the quarterback, who wasn't expected to do this the entire game, was put into the non-wishbone late in games, and it wouldn't work. So you've got to have,
We're not running the wishbone here, and they have a quarterback that can throw the ball. This is a totally different thing.
But what I'm saying is you can't just run. You can't. Here I am. I'm Mr. Run the damn ball guy. But you can't have a guy that just. You can't run it so much that your quarterback is not able and comfortable to throw at a certain point. So I think that it was a good balance of running and passing today. 45 carries is plenty rushing the ball.
I thought that Scadaboo should have had 45 carries on his own, Damon.
I think that's a little silly. I think that going against Kenny Dillingham on the game ball is not something I would do in this situation either, just because I think we'd be totally remiss if we didn't give Jordan Tyson his flowers right now, because I think, myself included, we were starting to have some questions about whether Jordan Tyson can be the bona fide number one receiver in this offense. And the miscues that happened early in the game, the fumble, and really it started with he took a really hard hit on the first drive that he stayed down a while for, and then the fumble on the next drive, and then later the tipped ball that led to the interception, and really just his fortitude, the wherewithal to be able to come back and make the two plays in the fourth quarter when your team really needed it.
Yeah, and then I think that Jordan Tyson was excellent today after the first half. I think once he got into the game a little bit more and figured out, listen, I got to make up for some of the mistakes I made earlier in the game. That's the type of players that Kenny Dillingham has been preaching that he wants on this team. Guys that are just next play mentality.
And going back to kind of my point is you also need the receivers to develop. They're not super experienced receivers on this team, so you need these guys to also develop and be able to make plays and give them the opportunity to recover from their errors in order to make plays late in the game when you need it. And this fly is really bothering me currently.
Well, I'll take the microphone away from Jesse for a second. I think we need to see more from Smith on the offense. He needs to get more involved. I don't want to see him continuously getting screen passes. Get him out there. Get him on a slant. Get him on a dig. Get him on something instead of these screens, because it's not working for him. That's my take on that. And then Guillory obviously had the touchdown reception. He's a big body wide receiver. You wouldn't think that he is that big. Give him some jump ball contested opportunities. I think ASU is just scratching the surface on what they can really do in this passing attack, Damon.
Yeah, I think just standing next to, we were on the field today, like standing next to Xavier Guillory. I mean, he's a huge guy, and he's shown in practice and shown in like tonight's touchdown that he's got the concentration to make tough catches. So I think he'd be a really nice person to get involved on contested catches for sure.
Absolutely. And we haven't talked about the defense. It was okay today. 31 points is not the best in terms of giving up, the amount of points that they'd want to give up. But obviously, Shamar Simmons.
Is that most on the season? 31?
Let's see. So they gave up 30 to Texas Tech. They gave up 28 to...
Yeah, most points.
Okay. You read it before I did. Thank you, Jesse. No, but Shamari Simmons led the team in tackles with 8 today.
Like clockwork.
Usually. Obviously, Clayton Smith was awesome.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about the targeting.
Clayton Smith was awesome today. He had a sack and a half and a tackle for loss. And then things happened in the second half for some of these defenders. Was it a targeting? Wasn't it a targeting? Let's talk about Sean Elliott's targeting call. I don't know about it. Like, he kind of launched himself, but it seemed shoulder to shoulder. Obviously, he's a very important player on the defense, and it showed a little bit in the second half when he wasn't there in the run for run defense. Now for Clayton, boneheaded play, I will say, but
Tough situation.
Not hearing the whistle. The crowd was going crazy at that point in the game. It was a huge third down. There was just a lot going on, a lot happening. And then Jalen Daniels rolling out of the pocket, still playing, doesn't hear the whistle either. He's still playing. What is Clayton Smith supposed to do? Not hit the guy with the football who's trying to make a play?
I would have to go through the rule book, but I don't know if you can be ejected for a play that doesn't count. Why are we ejecting people on plays that don't count? Even if it was targeting, who cares? Because again, the play didn't count. And then earlier on Elliott's targeting, if they're not going to call targeting on Miles Rouser earlier in the season at in the Texas State game, but they're going to call that targeting, I don't know what this rule is. I have zero idea what this rule is. Somebody please explain it to me, because I've seen various targeting penalties called and not called in college football games on like a wide scale of like, okay, that's not a targeting in this game, but it is a targeting in that game, and then it's a targeting in this game. It's not a targeting at all in this game. Like, it's so stupid.
It's not only weird for fans to be watching stuff like that, but it's very hard for coaches to coach their players on how to tackle if the rule is not defined correctly. It's just, from the naked eye, watching some of these plays in college football today and throughout the whole season so far, there's so many different intricacies to this rule that are not really defined correctly, and I'd really like for someone to just come out and let me know, show me borderline plays and show me what is textbook targeting, and I guess I'll be fine with it. But it just seems like from play to play, it's just different, from game to game even.
It should be a 15-yard penalty, and the player should have to sit out like a play. That's my opinion. Or there should be a targeting 1 and a targeting 2. Like, there's a flagrant 1 and a flagrant 2. The targeting 1, if there's no malicious intent, if they're trying to make a football play, then you don't give them targeting, which I think would mean that most players get to stay in the game. Obviously, it would be a 15-yard penalty.
If they do it a second time in the game, then they should be thrown out?
Yeah, exactly. But then there's a targeting 2, where it's like, okay, this guy's just out here headhunting, which then you eject the guy immediately, and then he's suspended. But I still don't think he should be suspended for the next game if you're in the second half, like for the half of the second game. I think that's stupid. Just ejection for the rest of the game. You don't see somebody in a basketball game that gets 2 technical fouls suspended for the next game. It's stupid.
Well, you kind of do.
Yeah,
after a certain amount of technicals, you could then get...
Depends. Yeah, but it has to go a certain length. Like, it's not the first one you get. Literally, you could be playing 2 top 10 opponents back to back. You get a targeting penalty when you're trying to play football, not trying to headhunt at all. You get a targeting penalty, and then you're out for say 2 top 10 opponents back to back or for some of the game, and you were just trying to play football. It's stupid.
Damon, your thoughts quickly before we get out of here.
Kenny's overarching thought on the targeting was that he can't really blame the players because they're making football moves, and it's just tough with the Utah game coming up that they're going to have to miss the first half of that, because especially with Keyshawn Elliott being the green dot of the defense, that's going to be Cyrus Fiaseu now, who Kenny praised tonight and how he stepped up, but you mentioned it wasn't perfect in the second half. It's just going to be tough sledding getting ready for this.
I mean, we were talking about it on that last drive. It was blatantly obvious that the run defense was a little different, and they weren't getting pressure on Daniels as well. It's going to be interesting to see at the start of the game next Friday, the Utah game, how the defense handles missing 2 of their most important players, defensive line and linebacker, respectively, obviously. It'll be, we'll see what kind of wrinkles Kenny and the defense brings out for the start of that Utah game. And who knows who's going to be at quarterback for Utah, because we don't.
Probably not Cam Rising, because that dude just doesn't.
Okay, Jesse, that's enough. Anyway, that's going to do it. Raleek Brown looked good today. Going to give him his flowers. Hope to see him a little bit more. And then, for the pass interference as well, Jesse, Keith Abney, total pass interference on that play. He needed to turn around. But if he did turn around, I don't know if it's pass interference.
Yeah,
Quickly.
Keith's got to work on some stuff. That's all I'll say.
That's going to do it for this edition.
Us?
We all got to work on some stuff, including us getting rid of these flies around here. That's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils. It was a wild day in college football, and it was also a wild day here in Tempe, Jesse. You told me to say that.
I did. I did tell him to say
You're
that.
welcome. I said it.
And crazy day. I mean, come on. Like, you got Vanderbilt beating Alabama. I could go on, and I could do like a 3-hour
Arkansas beating Tennessee.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Nico I didn't throw it.
It looked like Miami was going to lose, and then they got a very, very favorable non-targeting call, which would have been targeting in this game, I think. But
okay.
Again,
Thank you, Jesse.
Go watch that targeting, and then watch the targetings here, and tell me if those are the same thing. Because
interesting that the quarterback was allowed to continue to play.
Yeah, that too. I'm so confused.
We just have a lot of questions.
I'm so confused.
Damon,
Somebody tell me.
We have a lot of questions?
Not me.
Okay, so just me and Jesse.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You can follow us on social media at AZ Sports Devils everywhere, on every social media platform. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Damon's articles are all up on ArizonaSports.com. He did incredible work today, as well as Payne back at the office. He did incredible work. Thank you guys for all the work that you do. My pictures are up there. Jesse was live tweeting the entire game. You can go find all that on our AZ Sports Devils Twitter feed, X feed, whatever it's called now. Anyway, yeah, you can find almost every single episode as well on YouTube. You can just search Arizona Sports on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. For Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We will see you midweek and then Friday.
Yeah, Friday.